Hi, welcome back to Football Barbie. So tell me, how exciting was that draft? Did that draft surprise or shock anybody else like it did for me? I definitely know for a fact that my mock draft for round one was, definitely not the most accurate because people were choosing way, way differently than everybody thought. So I was able to watch a good amount of the draft, especially at least for the first day. I tried to do what I can to watch the second and third rounds for on Friday and Saturday. I was just kind of out of the country and it was really difficult to watch. So I was able to watch like the highlights and pay attention and watch bits and pieces of it. Now, I just want to say I give it up to Mr. Mel Kiper, and I think he's one of the best analysts out there for the draft. So this is kind of like a good amount of his information, I would just like to say, along with ESPN and NFL's information about the draft. So along with me, obviously, personally watching the draft. So let's just get started. Let's start by ranking the teams. And we'll go from there. There were 32 teams. Obviously, Miami missed the first round due to the incident of tampering with Tom Brady and Sean Payton from 2021. So, guess whose team came in first with the best grade in the draft? Eagles. The Philadelphia Eagles crushed the first round. I did not expect the Philadelphia Eagles to trade up and get the 9th pick instead of the 10th. Now, let's start by seeing. So, for a fact, going into the draft, they needed a defensive tackle, an edge, a guard, a safety, a cornerback, a quarterback, defensive end, a running back. So, General Manager Howie Roseman did an excellent job of getting his picks this season. They were able to get into the first round with 2 picks, thanks to their trade last year with New Orleans, which we got CJ Gardner-Chancey, and I was thrilled to have him and sad to now have not to have him. He did so well for our league last year for the Eagles, and I was thrilled. However, moving forward, so one of the first people that the Eagles took was traded up from pick 9, so from pick 10, Jalen Carter. He is supposed to be one of the most top-ranked people in the entire draft, especially for defense. So I'm really happy that the Eagles were able to take him. You know, we did have a problem stopping the ball. So the Eagles chose their first round pick, like I said, Jalen Carter. Now, we all know he pleaded no contest to the misdemeanor, the charges of the reckless driving. So honestly, he probably could have went sooner. But, you know, hopefully he didn't technically kill anybody. So although the man is talented, he's one of the issues Philly did struggle with last season was stopping the run. We ranked 24th in yards allowed per carry, 4.6. So that's technically not the best. As for their next pick, they picked for round 1, pick 30, an edge player. The Eagles were able to obtain an amazing pick at Nolan Smith. Now, Nolan Smith was also a very well-recognized person for the draft. And so far, those 2 people I actually did have in the beginning. But for many other teams, that's not the case. Nolan Smith is 6'2", 238 pounds. Technically, he's considered small for this. However, he's extremely fast position, running a 4.39 second at the combine for the 40-yard dash. That's really fast. Like, I really need to pay attention to these combines 40-yard dashes because I love to see these players who can run extremely fast. But it's kind of like, why are you going to bother to pay attention to everybody? Because you don't know who's actually going to get in the draft. So I'd be really curious to go back and watch the tapes of that. As for the third pick, Tyler Steen, round 3, he was picked for the 65th position. He definitely has some interesting traits where if he can work on them, then it's possible for him to move to inside guard where he is needed. He looks at, he's a guard. We could definitely have him as an inside guard. So that would definitely help. So round 3, Pick 66 is Sidney Brown, safety, who is considered undersized but trusted well during the combine with having 6 interceptions last season. I am super here for interceptions. Like, there is nothing more exciting as a fan when you are watching a game and you are down and your team intercepts the ball and scores a touchdown. Like, I scream for absolute joy. Like, there's nothing more exciting. So I'm totally here for all interceptions. It totally makes the game that much better. The Eagles need that as they were a dominant team, like I said, last season in interceptions. We had one of the, top rank interceptions for the whole league last year. For round 4, pick 105 for the Eagles. Went to cornerback Keely Ringo. I just also want to say I apologize for anybody's name that I possibly speak wrong. I am so sorry, but I do not know how to say everybody's name in this draft. So we'd just like to put that up there now. He just needs to prove himself more. That's really all we can say. Round 6, then we go to pick 188 from Stanford is quarterback Tanner McKee. Round 7, pick 249 is defensive end Moro Ojomo. See, is a solid depth defensive tackle. The Eagles did trade the Lions for running back DeAndre Swift. And if I'm not mistaken, somebody correct me if I'm wrong, didn't we previously have him? So I'm really thrilled that was part of our draft was to get DeAndre Swift back from the Lions. And I'm excited for that because, like I said, we lost Mr. Miles Sanders, whose jersey I currently own. And now I need to pick another jersey for this current season. Lovely. I hate when they do that. I'm like, gosh, darn it. Like, why did I pick this jersey? It's like you pick your person's favorite jersey. Am I wrong? And then all of a sudden they get trade cut or something happens. And then you're like, well, we're just going to keep that one, I guess. I mean, it's cool when they're a great player, but like when they play 1 season or something, 2 seasons, you're like, fudge. Anyway. So that was the Eagles, which got a rating of an A. So I will totally take that. People are already saying they're Super Bowl contenders for next year. Honestly, as an Eagles fan, I'm like, let's please not get your hopes up. You just never know, like, how the season's going to go. And I think I'm going to do a live schedule release next week around something like that. So please keep posted because I'm very excited for the schedule to come out. My whole fall season is planned around the football schedule. Team number 2. Who do you think did best? Next, do you think was your team? It was, let's go with the Seattle Seahawks, coming in also at an A position. Now, their top needs going into the draft were defensive end, defensive tackle, cornerback, wide receiver, and a quarterback. Now, they obviously have their quarterback, Geno Smith, but he did only have a 1-year contract thing that if he doesn't do as great as he did, he could technically be cut. So it's highly important to pay attention to Geno Smith. Now, I think he was great last year, so let's see if he can put it up again. So they had 4 more picks in the first round thanks to the trade with Russell Wilson going to the Broncos. So for round 1, pick number 5, out of Illinois, Devin Witherspoon, cornerback, was produced. He fills an immediate need for the Seahawks. From the next person you have is Jackson Smith-Njigba out of Ohio State. He's a wide receiver who also fills an immediate need for Seattle. But in round 2, pick 37, you have your OLB, and that is your edge rusher. He just had 16 sacks over the past 2 seasons, and that's really good. I mean, they could definitely use that for Mr. Derek Hall. Round 2, pick 52, went to Zach Charbonnet, running back, which will fill a big need for them. Round 4, pick 108, Anthony Bradford. It's possible that he could push for early playing time. Round 4, pick 123 for the Seahawks, went to Cameron Young, defensive tackle. So that's good for them as well. Round 5, pick 151, went to Mike Morris, defensive end. So you have round 5, pick 154, went to Olusegun Oluwatimi, center. Round 6, pick 198, Jarek Reed II, safety. And Seahawks' final pick for the round 7 was pick 237, Kenny McIntosh, running back. Now, this interesting part apparently it was saying is that the Seahawks have selected 11 backs in the past 10 drafts, most in NFL. So after all that, they managed to get all their needs and everything. They did very well. They picked up some of the key players that people have mentioned that were going to be very well. So, number 3, which I think is actually kind of funny because number 3, technically Kyler Murray is the 3rd highest paid NFL quarterback. And I'm pretty sure that's what it was from one of the video I did about the top 20 ranked quarterbacks, which I can link below. Arizona Cardinals came in with an A-. Their top needs going into the draft were defensive end, cornerback, wide receiver, running back, and either a center or a guard. On day 1, they got good, so they were bad. So they did help themselves out. So on day 1, they added extreme valuable 2024 picks, a first and a third from Houston after that shocking trade where Houston had the 2nd pick and then the 3rd pick. Like, nobody really seen that one coming at all. So in round 1, they picked for pick 6, their 6th pick, since they gave their pick away to the Houston for that trade. Paris Johnson Jr., he was a great player, offensive tackle. He can be the building block as Kyler Murray's blindside protector because we definitely know that Kyler Murray needs some help. I'm sorry. I really do think that your quarterback is overpaid and not as great, but let's see what happens if he gets better weapons. The Cardinal team does need a lot of work going to the draft, and Austin Fort did well in his first draft as a general manager. However, they didn't do very well by not attaining a running back in order to improve their depth chart. As for round 2 for the Cardinals, pick 41 went to BJ Ojulari. He's an edge rusher, so outside linebacker, was a pressure factory on downs from last season. Now, round 3, pick 72 went to Garrett Williams, cornerback. He's recovering from a torn ACL, but he could do great once he heals. Round 3, pick 94, Michael Wilson, wide receiver, a 6'2" wideout. He had a nice combine workout, which did help his placement for here. Round 4, pick 122, John Gaines II, guard. Round 5 for the Cardinals, pick 139, went to Clayton Tune, quarterback. He's accurate and experienced. He is capable of throwing the ball well, so that will help out. I have a feeling he's going to play this season, even if it's just for a game or two at the end or something. I have a feeling he's going to play. Mark my words. Round 5, pick 168, went to Owen Popo. He's an inner linebacker, has super fast speed for his position as a cover linebacker. Interior linebacker, yep. Round 6, pick 180, went to Kytrell Clark, cornerback. Round 6, pick 213, went to Mr. Dante Stills, defensive tackle. So that was Arizona Cardinals. So, like I said, they were able to get all the people that they kind of needed. Not necessarily too bad, but they definitely need a running back and they need more of their depth chart. They really need to do to help out Kyler Murray this season. Like I said, I'm not really sure about him yet. I haven't seen Kyler Murray, I feel like, perform up to the standards that I completely think he's capable of playing to. I don't know where he's played. Is his cap or what? So number 4. Who's next? The New York Giants get an A-. The Giants did well last season. I'm sure that their head coach is very, very happy with them. Their top needs going into the draft were cornerback, center, wide receiver, defensive tackle, and interior linebacker. Now, round 1, pick 24, went to Deontay Banks, cornerback. He stuck to his receivers in his man coverage. He's experienced. He apparently started 8 games as a freshman and has an incredible 42-inch vertical leap at the combine. That's amazing. So good for him. I'd be really curious because that means now I don't ever really recommend a player jumping that high to catch a ball because that's when people can take out your legs and you can get extremely hurt. But it is very, very fascinating to watch somebody do that. He can be a slot and as a starter on the other side of Adoree Jackson. Round 2, pick 57, went to John Michael Schmitz, center. He will most likely start as a rookie. Round 3, pick 73, went to Jalen Hyatt, wide receiver. Coach DeBall made a trade up to get him. He had 5 touchdown catches against Alabama in that one game, and he can fly out of the slot. So I think he's going to be somebody interesting to watch for their wide receivers. I definitely think he's going to have some good playing time this year. Round 5, pick 172, went to Eric Gray, running back. Now, people are trying to claim that he's like a step behind Saquon Barkley, and I think Saquon Barkley is definitely one of the Giants' best players on their entire team. I think Daniel Jones is a pretty decent quarterback. Now, Saquon Barkley would probably be my favorite player on the Giants. Now, don't hate me. I really did love me some Odell Beckham Jr. back in the day. I thought he's a great player. I'm highly curious to see how he plays for the next team on the list. As for round 6, pick 209, Trey Hawkins III, cornerback. Round 7, pick 243, Jordan Riley, defensive tackle. Round 7, their last pick 254, Jaravius Owens, safety. He was an excellent choice for the 7th round. So the Giants seemed like they killed it. They did very, very well in this draft, and they did manage to get all the players that they needed. They had those little hiccups here and there, but they did very well. As for the next team, now if you know where Odell Beckham Jr. is going, then you know that he's going to the 5th team on the list, which is the Baltimore Ravens. I'm super excited to see how some of these players play with different teams this year. It just keeps the sport interesting. Minus when it's the players that I like from the Eagles who go to different teams. Now I'm excited to see them, but I'm also sad to see them go. The Ravens' top needs for the draft were cornerback, wide receiver, outside linebacker, defensive tackle, and a quarterback. Now the best thing that they could have done for this entire draft was sign Lamar Jackson to the highest deal that he could have possibly have received. So everybody's very, very, very happy. I think it was like $255 million. He is now just slightly above Jalen Hurts. I'm pretty sure that was a 3-year contract deal. There is a lot to it that I will discuss in another video when I talk about the actual Ravens and how they're doing. Now, this was a thing which I didn't really realize this at all. So the Ravens receivers caught just 7 touchdown passes all of last season. Caught them. Not ran, not whatever, not Lamar Jackson running. That's horrible. So they definitely needed to get their shish together. Now, GM Eric DaCosta also added Odell Beckham Jr. to the depth chart. So I think that's definitely going to help out Lamar Jackson a lot. So for round 1, pick 22, they took one of the best wide receivers in the draft at Zay Flowers. He was highly remarked as to be one of the number 1 wide receivers for the draft. So I'll be really curious to see now how he plays on the team, especially alongside of Odell Beckham Jr. He can make plays out of the slot, but also being able to line up outside. He's capable of breaking tackles or runs by defensive tacks. So to me, that's screaming that he runs fast, he knows what to do, and he knows how to move all around the people. So I'm going to be really excited to see that. Baltimore traded away their 2nd round pick to land off-ball linebacker Roquan Smith. Round 3, pick 86 for the Ravens went to Trenton Simpson, inside linebacker, where he can play on 3rd downs and stick the tight ends in coverage, which they definitely need. Round 4, pick 124, Tactus Robinson, who's a defensive end. Round 5, pick 157 is Caillou Blue Kelly, cornerback. Round 6, pick 199, Malasala Amnuve Lau, offensive tackle. Round 7, their last pick for the draft, pick 229, Andrew Voorhees, guard. It is possible to sit out when the season. He literally might have to sit out the entire season because of a knee injury. So, they might have somebody for next year. Now, number 6 on this list, they're the ones that made the trade to get rid of their first pick. But for them, they think it was a good idea. And basically, They're trying to help themselves out for this year, which they should definitely do better for the record this year. But at the end of the day, it seems like their 2024 season might be better. And that of the Chicago Bears, B+. They did have the worst record last year. The Bears did well when they traded down from the original number 1 pick to Carolina to receive pick number 9 and 61 plus a 2024 first rounder, a 2025 second rounder, and wide receiver DJ Moore. They definitely need more weapons as well for their team. Last season was not a good season for the Bears, and I'm sure every Bear fan will 100% agree to this. So if you're a Bear fan, let me know how you felt about your season and how do you feel about your current new picks. So round 1, pick number 10, because remember, they were supposed to have 9, but the Eagles got number 9, so they got 10. Darnell Wright, offensive tackle. Now, he was a really good. They had a void at right tackle, and they really needed this position filled. He's the best right tackle in his class, a 333-pound lineman who started 42 games in college. He is ready to go. Round 2, pick 53, went to Gervinho Dexter Sr., defensive tackle. Round 2, pick 56, Tyreek Stevenson, cornerback. Round 3, pick 64, Zach Pickens, defensive tackle. Round 4, pick 115, Roshan Johnson, running back, who played behind Bijan Robinson at Texas, which everyone's saying that if he didn't play technically behind Bijan, that he would have actually been like a starter. So it kind of sucks to be behind someone else's footsteps, but unfortunately in football, that's just kind of how it goes. I mean, look at Mr. Aaron Rodgers, who played behind Brett Favre and didn't play for a couple years, and then Aaron Rodgers became great. He is powerful between the tackles. Round 4, pick 133, went to Mr. Tyler Scott, wide receiver. He's a slot wideout who runs after the catch well. Round 5, pick 148, Noah Sewell, inside linebacker, was a tackling force in college. Round 5, pick 165, Terrell Smith, cornerback. Round 7, pick 218, Travis Bell, defensive tackle. Round 7, their last pick 258, Mr. Kendall Williamson. Now, General Manager Poles is building in Chicago. So like I said, they managed to tame some really good picks for 2024. They seem like they're going to try to do their best this season, but it seems like next year it looks a lot more promising. Now, number 7 on the list, Cincinnati Bengals, B+. Their top needs going into the draft was running back, cornerback, safety, tight end, and guard. So for round 1, pick 28 went to Myles Murphy, defensive end. Everybody was thrilled about this pick. Everyone said that Myles Murphy is a really good player. He will likely slot in as a rotational player behind Trey Hendrickson and Sam Hubbard as a rookie. He may or may not be a starter this year, but I have a feeling he probably will play. Round 2, pick 60, DJ Turner. Super fast. Ran a 4.26 seconds 40-yard dash at the combine. These people are fast. I definitely can never run this. Round 3, pick 95, Jordan Battle. Safety is extremely versatile. He started 3 years for Nick Saban's defense. So, he was coached well from being from Alabama. Round 4, pick 131, Charlie Jones, wide receiver from Purdue. Round 5, pick 166, Chase Brown, running back from Illinois. Possible to get him some carries as a rookie. Round 6, pick 206, Andrew Lovias, wide receiver. He's a wideout from Princeton with a sprinter speed and a 6'3" body. That's pretty impressive. That's how you know he's going to be a big dude and he's fast. Round 6, pick 217, Brad Robbins, punter out of Michigan. Round 7, pick 246, DJ Ivy, cornerback out of Miami. Now, the problem is they should have taken a tight end when the class for tight ends this year was stacked, and they did not. So it's like they kind of get dinged for not taking a tight end when they should have. So the other Ohio team coming in at number 8, the Cleveland Browns, getting a rating of B+. Their top needs going into the draft were defensive end, defensive tackle, inside linebacker, running back, and a wide receiver. The Browns had sent their first rounder to the Texans in the Deshaun Watson deal and their second rounder to the Jets in the Elijah Moore trade, getting themselves a third round selection in return. So, having that start to the third round, they still did manage to pick up a few good players. Round 3, their first pick for number 74 spot went to Cedric Tillman, wide receiver. He was limited by an ankle injury last season, but at 6'3", he can go up and get a 50-50 ball. Round 3, pick 98, Siaki Ika, defensive tackle, is a 335-pound run plugger of a defensive tackle. He might not even get as many sacks, but he's definitely able to block well. Round 4, pick 111, Dasani Jones, offensive tackle. It's a really big guy who can end up becoming a coveted right tackle spot. That's definitely one of the most key spots for any line. Round 4, pick 126, Isaiah McGuire, defensive end. He can be a rotational pass rusher as a rookie. Round 5, pick 140, Dorian Thompson-Robinson. Quarterback is a dual threat who's developing well as a quarterback. Round 5, pick 142, Cameron Mitchell, cornerback from Northwestern. Round 6, pick 190, Luke Weiler, center out of Ohio State. Now, they did what they could. I mean, they got rid of Deshaun Watson. They lost a pick there. You know, they traded to the Jets. They lost a pick there. What can you really do? You know, you can't really do much. So to be in a really well rating still though as a team for the draft to only have from the third rounds, and they had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 picks. That's pretty good though. As for number 9 on the list, the team who lost Aaron Rodgers, the Green Bay Packers, B+. Now, I'm sure some Packers fans are thrilled. I'm sure some Packers fans are upset. Some people wanted to apparently see Aaron Rodgers retire in Green Bay, while others wanted him gone. And I know plenty Bear fans who are just happy he's no longer in their division. But I'm curious to see how he plays for the Jets. So the Packers' top needs for the draft were tight end, outside linebacker, safety, wide receiver, and defensive tackle. Interesting enough, the Packers have drafted a defensive player with 12 of their past 13 round draft picks. As part of the trade to the Jets with Rodgers, Green Bay's general manager received picks 13, 42, and 207, as well as that conditional second round in 2024, depending if Aaron Rodgers plays at least 65% of the season, is how it went down. Round 1, pick 13 for the Jets, since they switched from 13 to 15, went to Lucas Van Ness, defensive end out of Iowa. Round 2, pick 42 went to Luke Musgrave, tight end, to try and help out Jordan Love with more weapons, because they definitely need it. Now, I know apparently a lot of people were saying that Aaron Rodgers was probably like, I cannot believe they didn't get any weapons for Jordan Love on the first day, but they did manage to at least get another tight end for him on the second day. Round 2, pick 50, went to Jaden Reed, wide receiver out of Michigan State. He's only 5'11", but apparently he does play bigger on tape. Round 3, pick 78, went to tight end Tucker Kraft from South Dakota State, with which these two picks, they have really good pass catching potential. Last season, Green Bay ranked 25th in receiving yards by tight ends, 670. Now, remember, there's only 32 teams, so you're 25 out of 32 for your tight ends. You definitely need some better tight ends. And when your tight end class for this draft season was apparently one of the best, you better pick some tight ends. So Green Bay now did pick up some of those weapons for Love. Round 4, pick 116 went to Colby Wooden, defensive tackle. He's slightly undersized right now as a defensive lineman, but obviously, he's just starting for the NFL, so let's see what happens. Round 5, Green Bay had a lot of picks. Round 5, pick 149, Sean Clifford, quarterback out of Penn State. Round 5, pick 159, Devontae Wicks, wide receiver out of Virginia. Like I said, I really do apologize if I say anyone's name wrong and somebody happens to know. I highly apologize. Round 6, pick 179, Carl Brooks, defensive end out of Bowling Green. I've never heard of some of these colleges either. Remember when I said I'm not really like the highest, biggest college football fan? Bowling Green. I mean, I like green for the Eagles, but I don't know. Round 6, pick 207, Andrew Carlson, kicker. He's 6'5" as a kicker. I mean, does that mean his legs are really long? Like, I'd be really curious to honestly watch him and see how he does. Is he a good kicker? Like, what do we have on right now on the record? Like a 65 or a 66-yard kick is a high? Like a 6'5" kicker? It's pretty impressive. Round 7, pick 232, Carrington Valentine. What a name. Cornerback from Kentucky. Round 7, pick 235, Lou Nichols III, running back out of Central Michigan. Round 7, pick 242, Anthony Johnson Jr., safety from Iowa State. Round 7, pick 256, Grant DuBose, wide receiver out of Charlotte. They had 13 picks for the draft. That was almost the highest. As for the next, the team Tom Brady started with, the New England Patriots, B+ rating. Their top needs for the draft, cornerback, offensive tackle, wide receiver, tight end, and offensive outside linebacker. So they traded down for round 1, pick 17 to Christian Gonzalez, cornerback out of Oregon. It's a fantastic pick, though, for them. They can definitely get a lot of good use out of him. Round 2, pick 46, Keon White, defensive end, Georgia Tech. He has a position flexibility to play with his hand on the dirt or standing on the edge of the D-line. So that's how you know people are good, when they're able to be so versatile. Round 3, pick 76, Marte Mapu, inside linebacker out of Sacramento State. Round 4, pick 107, Jake Andrews, center out of Troy. Round 4, pick 112, Chad Ryland, a kicker, a top-ranked kicker at that, from Maryland. Round 4, pick 117, City So, guard from Eastern Michigan. Round 5, pick 144, Antonio Maffei, guard from UCLA. Round 6, pick 187, Kashon Butt, wide receiver from LSU. So apparently he had 9 touchdowns on 38 catches in 2021. Then he had a poor season and even worse pre-draft process. He tested awful at the combine. So he was good, and then something happened. So the Patriots have some work. If they can get him to turn around, then he could definitely be a star player, I'm sure, for them. Round 6, pick 192, Bryce Behringer, punter from Michigan State. He is a high-ranked punter. Round 6, pick 210, Demario Douglas, wide receiver from Liberty. Round 6, pick 214, Amir Speed, cornerback from Michigan State. My last name's Speed. I really hope I could run fast. Round 7, pick 245, Isaiah Bolden, cornerback from Jackson State. So the Patriots did well. I mean, they did what they could. I mean, they definitely picked up people who they needed and everything like that. You know, I'm just going to have a drink here from the only Super Bowl the Eagles ever actually won. As for next, Pittsburgh Steelers coming in at number 11 with a B+ rating. Their top needs going into the draft were cornerback, offensive tackle, inside linebacker, wide receiver, and defensive tackle. So now you thought that they were definitely should do well, considering the fact that they have 3 picks inside the top 50, where they needed both help on both sides of the ball. They traded 4th-round pick to move up 3 spots in round 1 to get the 14th pick, Broderick Jones, offensive tackle from Georgia. He will definitely start at one of the tackle spots. For round 2, pick 32 went to Joey Porter Jr., cornerback from Penn State. Now, if there is any state college I'd probably root for, it'd be Penn State, because I did go there and party there back when my girlfriend was there, probably before I was 21 and everything. And it's a blast. It's definitely like a fun party school. You were trying to do that. So I definitely did do that in college. So that would be the team. And I did go to a football game versus Michigan State. So that was a lot of fun on Halloween. Had a blast. So, Mr. Joey Porter Jr. is 6'2" with long arms. He can definitely flip his hips in coverage. It will be definitely interesting to watch him play. Round 2, pick 49, went to Keanu Benton, defensive tackle from Wisconsin. He needs to keep developing his pass rush moves, though. Round 3, wow, I am sorry about that. Round 3, pick 93, Darnell Washington, tight end from Georgia. He dropped because of some medical concerns. He could be one of the best blocking tight ends, though, if he is healthy. Round 4, pick 132, Nick Herbig, outside linebacker from Wisconsin. Round 7, 241, Corey Trice, cornerback from Purdue. Round 7, pick 251, Spencer Anderson, guard from Maryland. So I would definitely say that the Steelers did not bad. They're definitely, B+ rating. I think they did okay. Tennessee Titans next with a B+ rating. Round 1, pick 11, Peter Gronkowski, offensive tackle from Northwestern, top-ranked offensive lineman. Round 2, pick 33, Will Levis, quarterback from Kentucky. People were highly surprised that he did not get picked in the first round. I didn't think that he would go into the second round. I definitely had him going in the first. But he's a possibility we do starting quarterback. We will see what happens. Sometimes he was reckless last season, trusting a strong arm to fit throws into tight spaces, but he ended up getting picked off instead. And he did take too many sacks, but that's not necessarily his fault. Like I said, college is definitely way different than the NFL. The defensive people, like defensive tacklers in the NFL, are huge compared to college. Getting this pick involved, though, a significant trade for the Titans to trade up, moving up 8 spots in a trade with the Cardinals, giving up number 41 and 72, plus a third round next year, and adding number 81 this year. Round 3, pick 81, went to Tyjae Spears, running back from Tulane. He's extremely talented as long as his medical reports check out. Round 5, pick 147, Josh Weil, tight end from Cincinnati. Round 6, pick 186, Jalen Duncan, offensive tackle from Maryland. He has starter tools if he can put everything together. Round 7, pick 228, Colton Dowell, wide receiver from UT Martin. First draft for general manager Ran Carthon, I guess that's his name, for the general manager for the Titans. So it seemed like he did his best, but his team does need a better depth chart. So they have some work there. As for the 13th draft team, a team that I thought did extremely well last year, the Buffalo Bills with a B rating. Now, I do know people who are actually a Buffalo fan, so good for them. They did pretty well here, as best as they could. They didn't have that many draft picks. So their top needs for the draft were inside linebacker, cornerback, safety, wide receiver, and running back. They traded up 2 spots to take Dalton Kincaid in round 1. Pick 25, tight end from Utah. He was the best catching tight end in his class. So, he was definitely one of the best. So, Mr. Dalton Kincaid. They need weapons to take pressure off Stephon Diggs while still having their tight end Dawson Knox. So, it definitely will help out for them. Round 2, pick 59, Osiris Torrance, guard. He has a chance to push for early playing time, I would say. Round 3, pick 91, Dorian Williams, inside linebacker, off-ball linebacker. He ran a 4.49 second 40-yard dash at the combine, and he does have coverage ability. I tell you, I just love when these people can run fast too, because I don't know about you, but I would be very scared if I had the ball and somebody super fast who's big came running after me. You better be really good. Round 5, pick 150, Justin Shorter, wide receiver from Florida. Round 7, pick 230, Nick Broker guard from Ole Miss College. He is a decent guard prospect. And their last pick, round 7, pick 252, went to Alex Austin, cornerback from Oregon State. Now, the people who were able to get Mr. Bryce Young in the first round, the Carolina Panthers with a B rating. So their top needs by far, since, Cam Newton was their quarterback last year, but, is not really anymore. Quarterback, defensive end, wide receiver, defensive tackle, and inside linebacker. They had an offseason coaching change, which I didn't actually realize that, and a huge trade up in order to obtain the number 1 pick, which did slightly cost them. But so for round 1, pick 1 of the draft went to Bryce Young, quarterback from Alabama. It's like almost if you want to be in the NFL and you want to play well, then you better get your butt to Alabama because they do have a lot of studs in Alabama. I know Clemson's a big one. Ohio State's a big one. But Alabama's definitely up there for the schools. However, his height at 5'10" made people skeptical. He can maneuver the pocket and scramble, but he is not the best runner. So I guess Kyler Murray apparently is his height, but can run the ball better than he can. And it said something about, I think he's 2 inches shorter than Drew Brees, when Drew Brees obviously played for the Saints. So who knows? It's going to be interesting to watch. They're definitely going to have to make sure that they have the right people around him. So round 2, pick 39 went to Jonathan Mingo, wide receiver from Ole Miss. He has a great mix of size and speed and is also great after the catch. Round 3, pick 80, DJ Johnson, offensive linebacker from Oregon. Round 4, pick 114, Chandler Zavala, guard from NC State. He could be an impact guard, though. Round 5, pick 145, Jamie Robinson. I feel like there's a lot of people named Robinson in this draft. Safety from Florida State. They had great practices at the Senior Bowl in February. This will rely on what happens with Young. So how the Panthers do this year is going to be how they deal with Young. Let's hope he brings them success like he brought them Alabama. So, 15th in the draft, Dallas Cowboys, technically the Eagles' arch rival, coming in with a B. Top needs, however, the Cowboys do have a very exciting story for the draft. Top needs, tight end, running back, wide receiver, defensive tackle, and kicker. After Cowboys exited early from the playoffs again, they apparently fired coordinator Kellen Moore and promoted Brian Schottenheimer. Coach McCarthy will go back to calling the plays. With them losing Dalton Schultz and Starr, which if I was to have a favorite person on the Cowboys as of last year, it would have been Ezekiel Elliott, but he got cut because I guess it's something about money. He would have been my favorite person on their team. I think he was a beast. But he's gone. So they need definitely a running back to replace him. So round 1, which honestly that would have been the first thing I would have taken. Round 1, pick 26, Mozzie Smith, defensive tackle from Michigan. Best run-stuffing defensive tackle in his class at 323 pounds who will instantly improve their run defense. He will help the entire front 7 as their D-line too often last season was blown up. They needed to stop the run. So they definitely needed help. I'm not complaining, though. The Cowboys didn't do well because we were neck-and-neck at one point for who's going to be first in the division. Round 2, pick 58, Luke Schoonmaker, tight end, Michigan. Round 3, pick 90, DeMarvion Overshown, inside linebacker out of Texas. He will turn 25, though, as a rookie, so people are unsure if he can still have the capability to develop to be a better, linebacker, but who knows? He does have a capability apparently to be a great blitzer, and that's definitely always exciting for anybody to watch when somebody blitzes a quarterback. Round 4, pick 129, Viliami Fioco, defensive end from San Jose State. He had 23 sacks over the past 3 seasons. That's great for somebody in college, I feel. Round 5, pick 169, Asim Richards, offensive tackle, North Carolina. Round 6, pick 178, Eric Scott Jr., cornerback from Southern Miss. Round 6, pick 212, Deuce Vaughn, running back out of Kansas State. This is the guy, Mr. Deuce Vaughn, who got a phone call from his dad, who is a scout for it seemed like, I guess, the Cowboys, and called him and said, "Hey, son, do you want to come work with me next week?" How awesome is that? I mean, how often, do you get to play with your father in any retrospect when it comes to sports? It's like, obviously you had the two Kelsey brothers. That was pretty interesting. The whole thing, they did the whole article about how Travis Kelsey and Jason Kelsey, played against each other in the Super Bowl with their mother and everything. That's just cool. You don't see that often. Round 7, pick 244, Jalen Brooks, wide receiver out of South Carolina. Now, the number 16th team on the list, Denver Broncos, B. Their top needs going into the draft: center, offensive linebacker, running back, defensive tackle, cornerback. So the Broncos spent big money, though, on offensive linemen in their, free agency time with Mike McGlinchey and Ben Powers in order to prevent the league's worst 63 sacks last season. Again, their top 2 picks went to Seattle because of the Wilson trade, and another first rounder acquired for edge rushed Bradley Chubb, going to New Orleans for coach Sean Payton. Now, I think everyone's going to be very curious to see what happens when Sean Payton now comes to the Broncos. No one really can deny that Sean Payton is a great coach. He did very well for the Saints the entire time that he was there. So I am curious to see if Sean Payton is going to be able to make everything way better. Round 2, pick 63, went to Mr. Marvin Mims Jr., wide receiver from Oklahoma. He has an upside deep threat. Be interesting to watch. Round 3, pick 67, went to Drew Sanders, inside linebacker from Arkansas. Round 3, pick 83, Riley Moises, cornerback from Iowa. Round 6, pick 183, J.L. Skinner, safety from Boise State. And then the last pick for the Broncos in round 7, pick 257, was Alex Force, center from Oregon. So let's see what happens with the rest of the draft. I do have another video obviously coming. It will be coming in a few days for the second part of the draft. I'm definitely going to try to have the live thing about the schedule where I talk about the teams. Now, obviously, I am an Eagles fan. Green, bleed green, fly Eagles fly. We are here for it. I already know I plan on going to at least 3, 4, or more games for the season, of 3 or 4 games of just the Eagles. But one of my favorite friends in my life is a Giants fan, so I did say that I will go and cheer for the Giants against the Raiders since we do live in Las Vegas. I just got to make sure that these games are not in conflicting times. So I'm telling you, I'm going to be absolutely thrilled when the schedule comes out. I absolutely cannot wait. It is one of my favorite times of the entire football season. Besides playoffs, I love regular season football. Don't get me wrong. But if the Eagles make the playoffs, I am ecstatic the morning I wake up for the playoffs. I am just it is playoff time. So, go Eagles.